All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Guna Eagle Eye coming to you again with a brand new video. This time it is to talk about Eagle Eye, the transfer rumour show where I talk to you about Arsenal and all the transfer rumours generally out there. Now, the first thing first, let's get into it. Let's talk about Phil Coutinho, the 27-year-old Brazilian attacking midfielder who plays for Barcelona, who moved to Barcelona for £127 million only 18 months ago. It seems as though he's just completely fallen out of favour. They've obviously bought an attacking midfielder, Jong, from Ajax, so that's going to limit his game time even further. And he's just completely fallen out of favour. I did hear rumours that, Messi, who just runs that club, just doesn't get on with him, doesn't rate him. Considering, which is ironic, because 18 months ago he was his biggest cheerleader to come to the club, but now it just seems to have all fallen by the wayside. And I said the entire time, for me, I always felt that he was overrated. I always felt he was overrated. I just felt like ultimately there were better players out there. In fact, with Liverpool, to me, they weren't even losing their best midfielder. I always thought Mane was better. I always thought Mane was better. So, I think for me, us being linked with a £127 million player would have seemed absolutely ridiculous 2 weeks ago. It's still a little ridiculous now, but it doesn't sound so impossible. Particularly when you actually read some of the details of this story that we're being linked with. So we're not necessarily being linked with a buy, we're being linked with a loan. So you probably sat there thinking, fucking hell, okay, loaning a £127 million player. Yeah, so you guys thought that the Ceballos deal was expensive. Obviously for Ceballos, it cost us 15 million in loan fees, which I thought was pretty expensive. But it also goes to show you how much he's actually valued by Real Madrid. So if we were to ever buy him, we'd be looking at 50 to 60 million for Ceballos. In terms of Phil Coutinho, the loan figure that they're talking about is 27 million. No. just no. No. For a player that we don't need and I don't rate, no thank you. I think that would be silly. I think it would be very short-sighted. I don't want big... This is what I said to you the other day, people. This is why I was getting so annoyed when people were saying, oh, Arsenal fans need a big signing. Don't get me wrong. I was very happy, very excited to see Pepe through the door. Namely because I've been banging on about him for years and I never actually thought we would buy him. So yeah, of course, absolutely. I was very happy to see that we bought Nicolai Pepe. But I also don't want us to just buy big signings for the sake of big signings, especially when we don't need an attacking midfielder. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're going to tell me that, listen, Barcelona, why don't you go and take Mesut Ozil? Because I think that's a club you'd actually go to. Go and take Mesut Ozil, and we'll have Phil Coutinho, and we'll give you some change on top of that. I think that's a pretty good deal for all people, for all of us all round. Because I think Phil Coutinho would be less than 350 a week. Probably be about, you might be a little shy of 300 a week. So we've saved a little money. Potentially get a younger, more capable player, arguably. Like I say, I still don't rate him, so arguably. And I think everybody would be happy. So if you're talking that sort of deal, please proceed. But I don't think that's the deal that they're talking about. For me, I don't get it. I'd rather we just concentrate the money on somewhere on a position we actually need. You see, Man United agreed an £80 million fee for Harry Maguire. Why don't we also slap our big dick down on that defence? You know what? Why not go and get Koulibaly? Why not? That suggestion would have sounded absolutely insane 2 weeks ago. It sounds ridiculous now. But it sounds more plausible now. Because we just bought Pepe, so clearly this club has some dough. Why not go and get... Why not make a big statement and say, you know what, I'm only going to get 2 more signings this summer. I'm going to get Koulibaly and I'm going to get Tierney. You watch. I'll tell you what. Alongside Pepe, Ceballos, all right, Saliba's next season, but alongside the rest of the signings, I ain't gonna lie. The Premier League's gonna take notice. They're gonna be like, okay, I see Arsenal are about this life. So for me, this is me bitching. I know, but this is what I feel about this story. For me, no thanks, but no thanks. That's just my opinion when it comes to Philip Coutinho. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about Laurent Koscielny. Laurent Koscielny is being linked with a move away today. Supposedly he's being linked to the move to Bordeaux. We know he wants to go back to France. Supposedly, the club he prefers to go back to is Rennes. Rennes are his preferred destination, but I think at this point he's so desperate to get away from us. I think he'd take the Bordeaux move at this point. He has been linked with Bordeaux before, a couple of times before, so they clearly have a long-standing interest in him. And at this point, in my opinion, let him go. I am all for letting him go. Just let him do what he wants, go where he wants. Just let him go. For me, he's not acted like a captain. You guys know my anger on this one. He's not acted like a captain. He's not behaved like a captain. He's not conducted himself like a captain. And let's be real, his 9 years for me, he's flushed down the toilet. A player who, and I've said this before and I'll say this again, at best, he's been good. At best. But I think he's always a penalty. He's always a stupid slide tackle away or a late reaction away from a penalty. And that was even when he was at his best. I'm still not quite forgiving him for his performance against Birmingham. I said, let him go. Let him do whatever he wants to do. Just don't do it here at Arsenal. That's just my view. That's just my opinion. You guys let me know what you think. Let's talk about Kieran Tierney. So supposedly Arsenal, now that they've obviously sold Bielik for 10 million. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. Bielik has gone to Derby for £10 million, which I think is a good bit of business. Supposedly Arsenal have put on a sell-on clause on top of that. Actually, he went for 9.5 million. Sorry, just to be clear. And I think they're planning to use that extra change to just top up the Tierney deal. I've always said this from the get-go. I think the Tierney deal will be a deadline day deal. And so it's proving, you know. We are now, this is Saturday before deadline day as I record this. And don't be surprised if you see him at the Emirates on Thursday, you know, being presented. Or I say at the Emirates, it'll probably be more like inside the Emirates. But yeah, it is what it is. Kieran Tierney, this never-ending saga. Let's see where we go. And let's talk about us spending money in general. Obviously, we're edging towards deadline day. Your boy Chig is going to be the one bringing you shows, live shows throughout the day, so make sure you keep it locked. And, yeah, supposedly we are tipped to really spend a decent amount of money. The feeling is that we will bring in a defender and we'll bring in Kieran Tierney and possibly Sami Khedira. It's a lot of deals to get through over the line in the next 5 days. But if anyone can do it, maybe Arsenal can do it. Also, just going back to another story which I didn't talk about, and that's Daniel Rugani. Finally, we've been linked to a defender. And it looks as though those stories of a 2-year loan deal were true. Arsenal made a 2-year loan bid. That bid was also rejected by Juventus. Juventus preferring either a permanent deal or keeping him. The reason I say keeping him is because they do have some long-standing concerns with Chiellini, which is their defender, one of their defenders. He's a bit older now. I think he's like 33. And yeah, obviously as you get older, you pick up a little more knocks. And you may feel as though maybe that would present Rugani a chance to break into the team. The one thing I'll say, he's been there for ages. He's been highly rated since he was about 19. but yet they've never used him. And I think for me, if you're Regani, you're 24 years old now, you need to start playing football. And I feel like for him, he must be sat there thinking, well, if I'm not going to be playing football here, I need to be playing somewhere. So let's see what happens. But Regani, the 2-year loan deal offer was rejected. Supposedly, if a deal gets done, we'll be looking at a £30 million deal. For me, get the deal done. This ain't even a fucking discussion. Because even if some people have said that he's the Italian Mustafi, whatever. For me, I think surely he's better than what we have. You guys know I like him and rate him because he was in my Chiggy Knows Best video series. I think he's still got a lot of potential. And what I think you'll find is that once you get him up and running, I think you'll be proved to be a good defender. So you guys might not necessarily see it on the first 2, 3, 4, 5 games. But once he started playing games week in, week out, he'll prove his worth. I promise you. So that's it. Let's see what happens. The last Saturday of this summer that I'll be doing this. Because obviously the transfer window closes on Thursday. So hopefully, let's see. We are definitely set for a big week, Arsenal. I've got a feeling. So keep an eye on what we do. On transfer day, I'll be back. I'm going to bring you loads of shows on transfer day. So keep it locked. And yeah, we'll go from there. All right, people. Please crush that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. And I'll be back later tonight. Take care. Peace.